everyone, it's Des and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about something that has seemed to have blown up overnight. All of a sudden I'm seeing lots of videos like this from a lot of famous YouTubers, and it is something that I've always wanted to try, but I just haven't because I hadn't seen a lot of reviews out. So I finally tried using Hush. It is a mobile app that you get on your phone and you can shop with. They also have a website online, but a lot of things are sold out on the website that aren't sold out on the app. It's kind of tailor-made for mobile use. What Hush is it's kind of like just a regular retailer where it has a conglomeration of a bunch of different brands. It has reputable brands like L'Oreal. For Korean skincare, they have Holika Holika and Tony Moly and It's Skin and all these other great brands. It also carries some regular makeup brands like the Balm and a couple of Urban Decay products. But what this site has become famous for is providing dupes for very famous palettes. This brings up a lot of questions. Are the palettes any good? Is this technically breaking some copyright laws? We're gonna talk about it today. So I guess basically I should start out with the definition of a dupe. A dupe in the makeup world is basically a product that's almost exactly the same as the original. So it may not be like a replica. A replica is usually like some sketchy Chinese place will basically make a knockoff of a product, like a bag you'd get on the street. And a dupe is more like, we're our own thing, but we look just like that. So this website is famous for dupes. They carry a couple different brands that do this. The two that we're going to be talking about today are Bad Habit, one of their most famous brands, and their second famous one is Okalon, which is also another dupe brand. They also have Face Candy and a couple of others that are known to just make dupes. Bad Habit and Okalon are very different in this situation. They both kind of take a different approach at duping a certain palette. Some reasons that people might want a dupe is because it's extremely expensive to buy some of these palettes, and there's a lot of things I find wrong with that. Like, should I be paying $60 for some meshed up powder in a palette that just because I think it's pretty? Or just because of a brand name. So morally, it is kind of difficult because I understand that somebody put a lot of time and thought into the original palette, but I also know that I can't afford a $70 eyeshadow palette. So if I genuinely like what's in it, it's not available to me because of, my price category. So I want to see you guys comment down below what you think about this kind of thing. Do you think that dupes are bad and that they're ripping off the original artists? Or do you think that dupes are good for people who can't get an alternative to that palette because they really like it? Both of the palettes that I got to review for you guys are basically palettes that I couldn't afford and couldn't get. So I wanted to see how they performed, if the formula was close enough to the original that they performed just like a prestige brand of makeup. So these are all the things that we're going to be talking about today. So here are the palettes we're going to be talking about today. I have the Bad Habit Athena palette and the Okalon Natural palette that I'm holding upside down. This one was $15 and this one was $12. The Athena Bad Habit palette is the dupe for the Huda Beauty Desert Dusk palette, which is, with tax, $70. And then the Okalon Natural palette is a dupe for the Kat Von D Metal Matte palette that came out a couple years ago and was limited edition. It was also in the $60 to $70 range, and now if you try to find it, it's going to be even worse than that because it was limited edition and I couldn't get this when it was out. This one I really wanted really bad, but I'm not going to drop $65 for an eyeshadow palette. So we're going to see exactly how these test up. I've been using both of these for about a week and a half to test out full day wear to see how they perform, and also I put some tests on the packaging, what I think about it. So let's just dive in. I'm going to start with the Bad Habit Athena palette. First of all, let me just say they nailed it with the branding and the packaging for this. For me specifically, I'm absolutely obsessed with the whole foiled gold kind of look with the purple and ombre pink. Absolutely love Athena. I'm kind of, like a Greco-Roman nerd. But besides that, Bad Habit takes an interesting approach to their dupes. They make it so that they're basically making the same palette, but they're gonna pick their own names, they're gonna use their own formula. They're kind of just ripping off the idea and the colors of the original palette and applying their own theme to it. So the theme for both of their Huda Beauty dupe palettes goes with Greek mythology. So this one is the Athena palette. The regular palette they first came out with is called Aphrodite for Bad Habit. This is what it looks like outside of the box. It's the same packaging, and oh my gosh, do these feel like nice and heavy. This feels like an expensive palette. It also has a cruelty-free sticker on it, which means that they don't test on animals, which is really nice and reassuring. It just looks and feels great. Like, this feels nice and heavy. Opening it up, it's gonna be a little dirty because I've used it, but we have a mirror, and here are what these shades look like. It looks pretty much almost the same to the Huda Beauty Desert Dusk palette. The setup is a little bit different from the colors, but they are all generally in the same order. So I'm gonna put the swatches for this palette up in the corner so that you guys can see what they swatched like. These swatched so beautifully. Like, it is so freaking pigmented and buttery, you wouldn't believe it. This palette's kind of cut in half between shimmery shades and regular matte shades. It has one glitter shade that you guys will see called Daring. I really appreciate that they stuck with the Athena theme and they made each one of the colors a name that kind of correlates with it. We have Fierce, Gleam, Epic, Justice, Medusa, which is one of my favorite colors. I'm wearing it on my eye today. It's kind of this duochrome gold pink color. There are some duochromes, Gleam, Epic, and Medusa I would all consider to be duochrome shades. Gleam is kind of like that blue-brown shift. Epic is like that purple lavender shift, and Medusa is that gold pink shift. As far as trying them on my eyes, I will show you guys pictures up close of some of the looks I've done with this palette. I personally really liked how this blended out. It was a little bit more difficult than the natural palette, which I'll explain in a moment, but this was still a really good palette. This is better than some of the eyeshadows that I have from prestige brands, specifically Tarte. I don't like Tarte's eyeshadows. I don't like how they blend. They're extremely difficult, and this was not even a quarter of the price, and they were better quality. I do suggest that if you're going to use the duochrome shades or the shimmer shades, to wet your brush a little bit first with some water or some setting spray. That really helps the consistency. I love the color combinations, and I just think this is a really good palette. If you want something that feels expensive, that applies like it's expensive, this is the palette for you because it literally shocked me. I was expecting like some janky China, you know, back alley like dusty makeup, and this was not it. If you want to see more of a tutorial using this palette, I know that Laura Lee, another famous YouTuber, did a tutorial using only Hush products, and she did use one of these palettes. So if you guys want to see that in action, you can. I just wanted to take a couple pictures to show you guys some of the looks that you can get from this. Other than that, I just love it. I love the branding. As soon as I saw that it was called Athena, I was pretty much sold. So it was really great that it was actually the palette that I had wanted, because I'm not going to spend $65 on an eyeshadow palette. I don't care how good it is. That's too much. And this is a great affordable option for somebody who wanted the colors but couldn't afford them. Another great thing is that on the back of the box, it does give you the ingredients to all of these, so you can tell if they're vegan or not, or what goes into them. I know a lot of replicas from like China, like I said, the knockoffs, don't tell you what's in them, and that's really dangerous, especially with something that you're applying so close to your eyes. Then I have the Okalon Natural Palette. This is another story than the Athena palette, because Okalon, you ain't sly. You're not fooling anyone, because they didn't even bother to change the name shades in this one. On the back of the palette, this gives you kind of like an outlook of all the different shades that you will get, and it's pretty much the exact same as the original. This is the dupe for the Kat Von D Metal Matte palette. This was extremely limited edition, and a lot of people didn't get to get it. It's extremely well wrapped in here. It has its own little like carton that you open up that you can take the palette out, and on the back of the palette it does say, again, all the information. And here's what it looks like. It's very textured. Once again, that really nice, heavy, expensive feeling packaging. I really appreciate that in a palette because I want to feel like I got my money's worth. So you open it up, and this one will probably be dirty as well because I have used it. And these are the shades you get. I'll get a little bit closer so you guys can see. They are just super, super bright and vibrant. I'm just gonna cover the mirror so it doesn't blind you guys. And I just love all these colors. I especially was looking forward to the greens like moss and the kind of reddy brown called velvet. The thing with Aqualon is they didn't change any of the names, they didn't change any of the layout. So this kind of really is almost a replica, and the only difference is the name of the palette and what they did with the packaging. So this kind of walks a really fine line for me as to what is completely copying a project and what is not. I think that Bad Habit kind of saves themselves. They make everything different. They branded it with a completely different, style to it. And this, they're really just trying to make a convincing replica. That being said, the shadows in this palette are freaking ridiculous. I'll show you guys the swatches so you guys can get an idea of what it looks like. And the swatches didn't really impress me. They felt kind of powdery, and I was just kind of like not impressed. But honey, when I tried this on, this blends so freaking well. Like, this has easily gained place as my new favorite palette. It has just enough neutrals that you can kind of get that transition shade in, and then you just add like these pops of colors with these shimmer shades on top. Oh my gosh, every day that I wore this, I felt like I had a great makeup day. One of my favorites was when I used a bit of velvet and oak and then added twinkle to right here on the lid. And I felt like I looked like a freaking queen. This palette has been encouraging me to put more pops of color into my looks every day, and I've really, really been digging it. Like I said before too, is that some of my more expensive eyeshadow palettes don't blend this good. I want to know what's up with like these makeup companies where like the stuff isn't performing as well as this, and this was only $15. The only thing I will say is that the consistency in the shimmery shadows does change. All of these are pretty much the same except this one called Tinsel, which is kind of like almost a jelly, color poppy kind of cream formula. And for my hooded eyes, it tends to rub off on the top of my lid, which isn't a big problem because if I'm looking straight at you, you couldn't tell. But at the end of the day, you could tell that it had rubbed off on part of my lid. So the creamier shades didn't do as well for me, but everything else was absolutely freaking fantastic. I would highly recommend this to people who are looking to play with more color. I would recommend this also to people who are looking for a shadow that blends more buttery, that just kind of like smooths in, and you can really mix these colors together and they don't muddy up. So I did quite a few looks with this one, and I will just rifle through them for you guys so you can see what it looks like when I chose to wear these, just some ideas you can get from the palette. So I really enjoyed this. I know that if you want, you can get the original for like $80, but if you guys don't want to, Hush has it for $15. So the quality is there. The only question that's left remaining is the ethics about it. Is it better to just get the original and pay the price to get the name prestige and also to support somebody's creativity? Or are you clapping back and saying, hey, nobody can afford this, make it affordable, because you can make just as good quality with less money? This has easily taken the place of like my favorite palette. I love all the things that I can do with this, and it just looks good. I don't find any disagreements with the ingredients in these either. My eyes have been fine. My eyes are usually super sensitive, and none of these pigments have irritated them. So I don't think that the ingredients used in these are anything that's harmful. These are just regular brands that make their living making dupes. So I'd like to hear what you guys think. Comment down below with your take on the whole matter of these dupes, and give this video a like if you'd like to see me do more hauls from Hush, because I'm honestly thinking that after getting these amazing palettes that I would definitely do this again. So thank you guys so much for watching. Click subscribe down below if you guys aren't already, and I will see you guys in my next video. Stay stellar, guys. Bye.